Christ said it best in the parable of the sower, where he said that the sower sowed the seed. We know that the seed is the word. Word can be synonymous with thought, new thoughts and feelings that we're trying to install in our programming. But he named 4 scenarios. 3 out of the 4 scenarios were adverse to the seed. The first one, it didn't even begin to take root because it fell upon stony ground, and the birds and the fowls of the air came and plucked it up. So it didn't even get a chance to take root. The second scenario is that it took root in shallow ground. It sprang up immediately because the ground was not deep, but then it was scorched out by the sun, which is synonymous of the heat and the pressures of life and adversity early on that we experienced when we set out to set those new seeds or thoughts, reprogram our mind. The third scenario, after you make it past the first 2, that last scenario is like the final boss that's standing in between you and what it is that you set out for. He said that once you get past the first and the second, which we found out was the stony fallow ground and the shallow ground, then he said it fell among the thorns. And so the thorns is the cares of this life, the desire for other things, and I think he said like the lust or the thirst to get riches, and so a lot of times we do see it ramped up and more intense the closer we get. He said the cares of this life. And so outside of the first layer of whatever resistance you were facing, which you had to get past, which were probably bills, relationship issues, relational issues, kids acting, just things, once you get past that and then you get past the level of that level, it's like it's amped up. And so if that was the surface level, it goes to another level. And so more adverse things seem like they happen, or more things spring up from within you more so. The closer you get, you have to deal with yourself. And so that's where he say the lust for other things, the desire for riches, the cares of his life. And so things seem to get more intense right before you get to that 4th level, where he said once you make it past those 3, the 4th level, and even at that 4th level, there are 3 tiers to that. He said some sowed and reaped 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. And so that's why you see people with different measures. It's just, and we don't necessarily control that. We do control our part in the process, but we don't necessarily control the outcome. And so that's why you see that that's why you see people with different measures, or you can never really judge what it is a person has because you don't know what they had to overcome in order to even get to that point. So according to the parable, we have a 25% chance of success versus a 75% chance of failure. And even in that 25%, there are 3 tiers. So make sure that we persevere to the end.